Hello, my name is Anna Galetli, and here at CNM I am the course coordinator designer for the online Biology 2210 course. I may be your instructor, but most likely I'm not. You're most likely having a different person who is instructing you on the course. With our template courses, we have shared a basic structure, some materials that all instructors will use. What I'm going to do with this short little video is explain how the PowerPoints and the exams are integrated and used to work together to get you to a point where you're ready to take a test. If your instructor is using different PowerPoints, then you will need to discuss with them how they are structuring the alignment between the PowerPoint material and the tests. So it may be a little bit different, but if they are using my PowerPoints, then this video will help explain how it's structured. All right, so I'm guessing the big question on your mind is, how do I study for my tests and quizzes? How does all this information go together? So, anatomy and physiology, there's a lot of information. So the way I've structured the learning modules is that you have PowerPoints. These PowerPoints are my lecture notes. Okay? Now, off of these PowerPoints, I've also created video lectures. A lot of the video lectures, depending on what your instructor has decided to do, may be lectures of me going over images from the PowerPoints, or basically chalkboard-like talks where I talk about physiological processes. The video lectures may not all be me. There may be lectures from Kat Fleece or Brian Seiler or other people on YouTube, or your individual ANP instructor. They may choose to give you different videos. Having a variety of people explaining concepts is valuable. It doesn't actually really matter whether it's me explaining it or your instructor or Andrew Wolf or Kat Fleece or Brian Seiler. What's important is that you find someone whose explanations help you understand the material, okay? So if they're my video lectures, I'm going to be talking about images or doing basically chalkboard, whiteboard work where I'm going over the concepts. I do not read my note slides. So in the PowerPoint, there are a lot of notes slides. They enhance the images, but I'm not going to actually read them to you, okay? Now, also going along with the PowerPoints are study guides. I write those study guides by looking at the PowerPoints, okay? And then you've got the book. I've been teaching this course for 18, 19 years. I've used a lot of different books. Anatomy and physiology does not always agree from one book to the next. Things change. People interpret and emphasize things differently. So my PowerPoints are summarizing my knowledge from what I've learned from various sources over a long time. Okay, it's what I think is important. Your instructor may substitute PowerPoints or substitute slides to emphasize other material that they prefer. And that's okay. That's totally normal to happen. The book is always going to have more information in it than what you're going to find in your PowerPoints, because what I'm trying to do with this material here is reduce the content so that you know what to study for your tests and quizzes, okay? And believe me, it may not seem like it's a reduction. It really is a reduction. Now, I'm going to go over something that may seem a little boring, but it's important for you to understand how the course is structured. We have something called learning outcomes versus learning objectives. You will find your course learning outcomes on your syllabus. These are state learning outcomes. There's like 8 or 9 of them, or 10, depending on what course it is. Maybe 13, I'll have to remember. But basically, every university in New Mexico has the same learning outcomes for anatomy and physiology courses. This outlines what we're going to cover, okay? But it's not very specific. It's hard to say, well, what are you actually going to study? So here at CNM, we have unit or topical learning objectives. And we happen to have adopted the objectives written by the Human Anatomy and Physiology Society, which is an international organization of anatomy and physiology instructors who had got together and said, well, what's the most important stuff that people should be learning in order to succeed in their next classes or their careers? So we've taken those objectives and we've actually shortened them. All right, so there are fewer than what the organization has created. And we use that to outline what we're going to emphasize from each chapter, from each unit, okay? Now, these are still fairly broad, so your instructor, their job is to decide what to emphasize and whether you're going to go deep or broad or both in what you learn on that particular study. Different instructors have different favorite topics, and so it's going to vary a little bit from instructor to instructor, and that is normal and that is good because it gives variety and spice to life. And that is one reason why video lectures may be a little different from one person to the next, or PowerPoints may be a little different from one person to the next. If your particular course section is using the materials I've created, you will know that the test and quiz questions are written from the PowerPoints and that the video lectures and the study guides are coming off of the PowerPoints. So the PowerPoints are the summary, okay? Now, having said that, if you read the PowerPoints and read the book, you're not going to pass the class. You have to synthesize the material. You have to rewrite the material. So what I would do is I would start by skimming the PowerPoints to know what material is going to be covered, okay? Then I would read the Learn Smart chapters and finish that material up. Then I would watch video lectures. Then I would write. And this is going to be the most important component for learning this course. All right, and what you're going to write is you're going to make tables. You're going to organize the information from the PowerPoint into new tables, or you're going to do concept maps, or you're going to draw diagrams. You have to rewrite the material to learn it, because reading the PowerPoints and reading your notes and reading the book are fairly passive and you will not remember the material. You have to rewrite the material. Now, with my video lectures, one of the things that I do is I model or show examples of how to do tables, how to do concept maps, how to draw diagrams. So those video lectures can help you with that if you're using mine. Okay? The other thing is you can't expect that the PowerPoints to be one-to-one info for quiz questions. You will not find the answer to a question on one slide. You will have to synthesize information from multiple slides. How do you do that? That's how you do it. You write tables, you write concept maps, you draw diagrams. okay? All right, I'm going to stop it there. Thank you for listening, and I hope this helps you understand how to use the course materials a little bit more effectively.